Hi, my name is Rachel Brewster. I'm a Regency romance writer, and I had something really weird happen today at my full-time job, my corporate job, and I swear it does relate to writing, sort of, kind of connected. It's my channel and I do what I want, so we're going to talk about it. So I technically work for myself. I'm Rachel Brewster LLC. Very fancy. And I am a consultant or a contractor, and the company that I work for right now is Allergan. They are based in California. I'm in the Midwest, and our development team is in Ukraine. So, today, so AbbVie is this pharmaceutical conglomerate, and they bought Allergan, my company, like 2 years ago. Allergan is more medical aesthetics, Botox. And so AbbVie bought Allergan, and now they're kind of combined. It was signed on paper. It was inked like 2 years ago. But anyone who's been in the corporate space knows that mergers and acquisitions actually take much longer than that. It's not like you sign on the dotted line and then you're like good to go. To stitch those systems together takes a much longer time. So even though the contract, started 2 years ago, the actual implementation of the mergers and acquisitions takes a longer time. So they've been stitching those systems and departments and technologies together ever since. And it's been about 2 years since they've been doing that. I haven't worked for the company for 2 years. It's been 5 months, actually. They've only been my client for 5 months, really short period of time. But they are stitching the system together. Now, when I hopped on 5 months ago, I did not know this. I did not know that that was a factor. And when they hired me on, they hired me to be, it was a 6-month contract. And that's pretty normal. And every time I've had a 6-month contract, the conversation has been like, yeah, but like it's a rolling 6-month contract, and like we'll just sign another 6-month contract in 6 months. Like I've been on 6-month contracts for 2 years easily. And the only reason it ended at 2 years is because I found a different client and moved on. Like it's pretty normal to have a 6-month contract and just have it extended. And when I signed on, the person who hired me, we had that conversation that this was going to be a longer relationship. No problem. Wasn't super worried about it. However, I'm in here 4 or 5 months and I'm hearing about a company-wide code freeze that's going to happen because they are stitching these systems together. And I'm like, like a vast majority of my job is helping the team in Ukraine develop and push stuff into the development environment and then staging and production and blah, blah, blah. If we do a code freeze, what happens to my job? Like, what do we do? What do you mean? What's happening? And I had a couple of conversations with my boss where I was like kind of reading the tea leaves of like, oh, maybe they're not going to renew my contract. Because he wasn't expecting this to happen or happen with this timing either. And there were a couple of different options, like a sandbox or a realm, or like, can we get around it? What do we do? But in the last like month or so, I'm like, So I got an email from my boss on Friday, 2 days ago. And he was like, yeah, so what we're going to do is we are going to have to just wrap up this project a lot sooner than we thought. The code freeze is going to be like 10 months and we will have to resume after that. Okay. So I emailed him back and I was like, just so that I understand, we were planning to renew my contract, but this thing came up. It changed. Oh, goodbye, light. It changed things. Am I correct in understanding that we are not going to be renewing my contract? And he wrote back, unfortunately, yes, blah, 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 blah. Because I was thinking, well, maybe he has a different project or team that he wants me to work on for the next 10 months. And then when this project restarts, they will need me. And he was like, nope, we don't have anything else for you. So, I'm out of a job / money. Not technically out of a job because I work for myself, but you get it. And then I was like, that's fine. And he was like, it's Friday. Let's talk on Monday and we can figure out next steps. And I was like, sounds good. And then he said something about the end of the month. Like 7 days from now, the end of the month? Or do you mean the end of, next month, right? Next month? I don't think that's what he means. I think he means we are wrapping this thing up in 7 days. And I'm like, okay. I wasn't expecting that. Certainly would be more comfortable if I had 6 weeks rather than 1. I talked to my girlfriends about it and they were in varying states of shock and horror. I'm much more relaxed about it. Maybe I should be freaking out. I'm just not. The job market's really strong right now, so I don't think it's going to be difficult for me to pick up another client and have another contract. It is, however, looping back to how this all fits in my channel about Regency romance novels. Hello. It does make me think about my business a little bit differently. 2 things are going through my mind. 1, maybe I should not be picking up full-time contracts. Maybe I should be picking up 2 part-time contracts or 3 and diversifying my business portfolio so that if one of my clients has a code freeze or has financial issues or just decides they don't like me, the tap of my revenue doesn't stop flowing completely. At least I have others to rely on. That's one option. The other option that I would far prefer is if I just had 1 full-time client, but my Regency romance novels were bringing in passive income so that I could sustain a gap like this with absolutely no stress whatsoever, and just float for however long it's needed. Because let's pretend that the job market, it wouldn't be hot. Like, let's say it's 2008, 2009, when the world ended. If my client let me go in the position that I'm in now, and that was the environment and the job market I was in, yeah, I'd be losing my mind. And who says that those days aren't coming? So I need to think about how to shore up my revenue source in my business in a way that's sustainable. I would love to have passive income from my novels and thinking about it as from a business point of view. I am many years off from making that happen. But it is, I think what's going through my head is that if I pick up multiple contracts, that is splitting my attention too. So it has a downside. And maybe I should be picking up just 1 contract and hoping this doesn't happen again for the next couple of years. It hasn't happened before. It's the first time it's ever happened. If I pick up 1 contract and focus on 1 client and have all my eggs in 1 basket and take that risk, but I'm building my romance novels on the side so that eventually they can launch, it would mean short-term risk for long-term gain, theoretically. Or I pick up multiple contracts and find the time, energy, and effort to continue writing my romance novels and launch them and have passive income in the future. It really depends on the contracts and the clients. Like, some clients are incredibly demanding. They're usually the full-timers, right? Or you could have 2 super chill clients and 2 contracts. Or you could have 3 demanding people. Like, I don't know. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I think it really depends on what contracts and clients come my way, what work I find interesting, because I do plan to be in my full-time job. Like, I don't plan for my romance novel revenue to replace my full-time job ever. I don't think. I just like the art comes first, but the business is there, right? So you need to be thinking about it. Those are all my thoughts. I don't know if they make any sense, but is what's going through my head. So I made a video. Did you like it? I don't know if I liked it. I liked it because I'm going to be looking back at this in a couple of years and be like, oh yeah, I forgot when I was let go from Allergan. That sucked. Well, we moved on and this is what happened next. So it's a good like look back. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Right? I'm always right. That's the right answer. Amen. Hallelujah. All right. Well, if you were entertained or interested in this video, feel free to touch my bells and buttons. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you lovely ladies later. Ciao for now.